Hello my friends, welcome to another episode of Warhammer 40K Inquisitor. My name is Wilfred. So today I would like to share with you my experience with the tarot card, the tarot seals, as well as the Ordos. I think these are some of the interesting endgame mechanism which I wish I knew a little bit more before I engage into the endgame, but I'm here to share my thoughts with you on which are my favorite tarot cards and seals, and also from an Ordos perspective, which are the Inquisitors or the reputation I would like to build up with first in that order. So now, this game is very interesting when it comes to end game. If you played Path of Exile, you probably will be farming maps that will have some determined challenges against you. And if you play Diablo 3, you you probably will just push higher riff and higher riff and higher riff, and that's a challenge. So now in this game, there are two things. You can either do an intel, which is one of these missions here, that give you kind of like random hazard against you, which you can also augment with the higher difficulties, or you can do like some of this mission whereby you could augment the difficulties of the mission by adding some cards or seals to it, or you could also like play a Void Crusade like I always do, which is end game mode, which also enable you to add difficulties against the mission. Now, what do I mean by that? For example, I could pick up any mission here, say one of this guy, 107. I could say, well, I could do a probably higher kind of tiers, difficulties. I can select some of this tarot card there, and then some other tarot card here, and say some of this tarot card here, and it kind of like add different challenges against you, but it kind of increases the level of the mission. That would of course give you more debuff, and they give you some random kind of like challenges as well. So that's pretty cool. And usually you can use it to your advantage, or to me it sometimes could be just a challenge, because I could do level 100 map very, very easily, and that become too easy and just seems like I don't really get much out from it. So it's up to you how you want to play this game. It's sandbox. So so before we get there, how do you kind of work with the card and seal mechanism? It's actually pretty straightforward. There's the dam kind of like inventory here. That's where you keep all the currency of seal or shards, what have you. It took me a while to get there. I mean, I didn't know that there was something like that. So so here's all the shards that you have. Here's the tarot card that you loot as you play the game. As you play the mission, you get tarot card after you reach level 50 and above, I believe. And then you also get seals as well. Now, Imperial Seal is something that that you just picked up as you play the mission, and the seal can be allocated or being converted into, say, the various kind of seal that is just seen in randomly. So for example, going back to this example here, these are the cards. This is a seal. The seal could be something that would buff your chance to get bell item, armor item, so on and so forth. Now, unlike Diablo 3, whereby you could use your blood shard to exchange to a certain slot that you want to farm for, in this game what you do is that you put a seal against it and hope to get more of that items. So that is one way. Now, these are the Imperial Seal. Randomly, if you carve like assign, it will be one of these guys here. There's also seals that are Hereticus, Xenos, as well as Malus. So these are the seals that is from the Ordo. I talked about it earlier on, whereby you help some of the Inquisitors in your ship as well. So so these are the one that is called Seal of Hereticus, Seal of Xenos, and Seal of Malleus. Now, so going back to the inventory here, what I usually do is that after a mission or just after a few missions, I'll convert the card, of course, into leveling of my tarot card, because each tarot card has a level against it. And as per my video talking about the season kind of tips and journey, do check that out if you have difficulties finishing the season. I have a text version as well if you don't like to watch a long video, and time code against the video as well. So the my advice is always level only one tarot card at one time. So what I mean by that is that you could, each of these tarot card, for example, has a level to it. You could, like this is a level 2 so up to level 5. So you could press this button here after you collected 50 cards, and you can press this button, and then it level up to the next tier, and you get more and more kind of like higher and higher kind of reward. Some of them I leave it at 2, and some of them is 1. My advice is if you play the season journey, if you play non-season, it doesn't really matter that much. If you play season journey, please just level 1 card at a time, and I think that is that is probably one of the things that I should have done before I started the journey. So all these cards can be leveled up, and it's really up to you how much do you like the card. And that's why this video could be relevant as well, because I'm sharing with you some of my favorite cards and seals, so that you can make some informed decision when it comes to leveling the card or using which card or seals to use. All right. Now, the leveling of the card and collecting seal is just a very simple action. There's a tick here, so you can just like keep clicking that, or you can just like kind of like that would level up the card I have called Insanity, which is for glory. You could also convert those seals into randomly into stuff like creation, apparatus, burning cork, and so on. So that would add on to the seal that you have got. Now there's this kind of seals you have to pick up as you play the game, and there are you have to unlock those as well, which I will come to it now. Perhaps the Ordos. Now Ordos will appear after, I believe, a certain level. I can't remember which one is it. Whereby after you finish some of the story, then the Inquisitors will be like they're asking you for help. Now there are altogether 3 of them: Xenos, Hereticus, as well as Malus. Now each one of them have their own like a perk. Like if you look at the reward of Xenos, up above is that you get bonus against the enemies. Here they have another kind of enemy as well, and here you have other enemy as well, right? The Daemon. My preference or my order of preference would be Hereticus, Xenos, then Malleus. Why is it so? Hereticus have the chance to drop blueprint, and blueprint could be quite interesting if you want to craft stuff, because this is the part whereby you could, if you can't farm certain things, you can collect certain blueprint. And the interesting about this blueprint concept is that it's not once you unlock a blueprint like Warcraft or other game, you forever know how to craft that. No, there isn't. There's charges to it. So now here is like 5 crafting charges. So and each blueprint also would have certain affixes to it that you may need to keep collecting the right blueprint. So what do I mean by that? Again, just want to show you guys, because some of these things may not be obvious for a new player. If you look at the, say, Graph Gun, I have 2 type of blueprint. One is that it'll give me less damage dealt by enemies for every debuff effect on them, and this one will give you damage bonus for every debuff on them. Alright, so there's 2 different ones, and once you craft 4 of them, you're gone. You cannot craft again. You have to farm the blueprint again, and there's a humongous amount of blueprint that you can get. Like some of these items, that favorite item of mine, like Thunder Hammer, I can have all these gain shock aura, or I can have stun enemy, explode on kill, which is not bad, or you can have suppression and HP gain on kill equals to 100% of the killing blows damage, also pretty good as well. So so that is the reason why, in principle, although in reality you may not be crafting too much because it's just too random sometimes, you would like to collect a lot of blueprints, and Hereticus is one of the one that will give you, it's a vendor that will give you a lot of blueprints. So I would say this is probably one of my first top priority when it comes to Ordos. And in order to get the blueprint, of course, you have to keep leveling up doing the weekly weekly kind of like a quest here. There are 3 quests here weekly that you can level up all these things to give all this reward, like being able to have a chance to have Archaeotech Relics blueprint, for example. There's a very good kind of buff to it. There are in fact different kind of mission that you can get. All these missions will guarantee to give you a Hereticus reputation. Now, you could also get this from Intel. So some of the Intel I run, like this kind of Intel here, I do Intel sometimes just to level up the gear, like I found this gear, and I want to discover it. So what I do is that I probably do a lot of like intel to give me the chance to kind of like, you know, level up the weapon, or unlock the weapon. Sorry, not level up, unlock the weapon. So that's what you do. Sometimes you do see Hereticus reputation when you play the intel. That's pretty random. Of course, more cards that you add onto it, the higher you get this reputation, the faster you get to the end of it. So if you look at Xeno, which is my second one, Xeno reward is interesting because it does give me the Archaeotech Relics item. Now that is actually pretty good as well, I would say, because with that, then you have a chance to get some of these red items. All right, it's by random. You get refreshed every, I believe, 24 hours. And some of this could be interesting, could be good. Like this one, you know, HP per hit per berserker. I mean, I don't really get a lot of stuff from here, but occasionally I do get some. Like when I want to experiment some build, I do get some gear. Sometimes I get a pretty decent like six enchant instead of like 3 or 4. But it's always 90 level 90. You won't get anything higher than level 90. You have to go and farm the item through higher kind of like mission. But it's a good starting point because in this game the level of the item may not matter that much. It is fixes that matter a lot more because that is build defining. Anything above 90 or even below 90, I've been using something that's 61. The inoculator, it still works for me pretty fine. Although Malus will give you some codes as well as Archaeotech. To me, it's not useful because you could, you know, if you invest in your crafting tech tree, which you would have anyway as you level up, you'll be able to recover the sound code and as well as a shard that you add on to the the item. So you don't really lose the sound code. You don't really lose the shard. So I end up with tons of these shards are lying around in my inventory. Tons of kind of like sound code. So why do you even need more? So to recap, the order of my preference, I think. Probably the most optimized one would be Hereticus, Xenos, and Malus. All right. Now, so with that, then you got the seal. So now the when it comes to tarot card, which one are my favorite? And I think that is very debatable because you know everybody have their own favorite. I'm just sharing my experience with you. Now, say for example, I want to pick one of these quests here. Doesn't matter, maybe 100. That's how you start with the Void Crusade, right? They give you a start with the 100. So now you have an option here. You can either use one major card and 2 minor. All right, so that is rule of the game. Or you can just don't use any one of them, of course. Or you can use like you may not want to use any major or minor, but you want to use seals. So you can do like up to 3 seals inside. But you cannot have more than 3 slots. Of course, that's obvious. So now, major-wise, there are 4 cards here, 1, 2, 3, 4, that will not increase the level of the mission. And that's cool because you deal the damage that you're supposed to deal. You receive the damage that you're supposed to receive. Now, if you are confident and say, well, I think 100 is a little bit too low, you can add this guy here, which is add 2 level to the mission. Now, again, it's not that obvious at first when you kind of like first play this game, but eventually you get there. So add 2 level to the mission. These 2 cards are the one that you could bump it to 102. If you say that, well, I'm actually getting pretty confident. 102 is kind of easy. Then you can use these 2 to bump it to 5. Bump 5, become 105. Or you can do 8 levels. Yeah, these 2 are the plus 8 level. And if you really say, I'm just face rolling everything because I discover a build that is so OP that I can just face roll stuff, you can add 11 levels, right? And each of them will have like, kind of like high quality items or duplicated items. These are all the same: high quality, duplicated, high quality, duplicated, high quality, duplicated. All right. So these are the thing that you have, and the penalty is the same as well. So this this set of cards are all just a duplicate against each other. So it's the first 4 that is a little bit different when it comes to what you want to do with the you want to maintain the level as it is. Now, of course, if I'm someone who is farming for glory, which I am, as you know, because that is a leaderboard that everybody try to I mean, some of us, not everybody, some of us would like to go for, then, things like glory would be enticing because I will get 100% glory. And I may want to, play this, but then the level seems too low, right? The glory is just 10 anyway. If I add this one in, it will be like 26. Another way, of course, is to pick up as high as you can get, like 109, and then I pick a glory card. Say I uncheck this guy, and then I pick a glory card here that coupled with my minor glory card as well, it of course gives you a lot more glory, and that's how you farm glory at the highest curve, like as high as you can get, and the reward will be scaled up as much as is being given to you. Otherwise, you have the level 100, which is going to be kind of tiny when it comes to glory. So it's like 100 times. So you can do 10 times. So you can do like 10 or 12 of this mission 100 versus just 109 mission with the right kind of tarot card in it. The choice is yours. I mean, if you're farmed for certain things like glory or fate or even influence, then of course a higher mission will give you high reward. Yeah, that go without saying. So now understanding this is important because you then have to decide what level you want to bump it up to and which of the two cards, all right, that you want to use here. Now, how to decide between these two? My preference is to get higher level item, relics or higher. That would be my first preference. It has penalty to dying. Like for example, it does give you, say, something like every 5 minutes you lose a life, right? I found that this is not really a big deal because usually you have 3 lives, and very rarely you need to spill over more than 5 minutes unless you have a really big map of purge to go through, or you come across some really difficult map that you do a lot of kiting, or you some of this map that require you to get data, or get some of the mission just take a bit longer, but usually you can do it within 15 minutes. So I'm not that concerned over 5 minutes lose a life, unless I'm playing Void Crusade. Now, Void Crusade have a limited number of life across the entire 20-odd missions, and of course, losing a life means quite something. Although, this day, even when I play like 108 to 110 or 107 to 110 kind of Void Crusade missions, I don't really lose a life. So to me, that is not really a penalty. You can pick other as well. Let me just see whether I can show you some other as well. Like this one here, every death decrease the maximum HP of a character by 25%. Again, it's not really a big deal. I'm not really bothered by that because usually my character can survive through the entire mission. There's something that you start with only 2 life. Again, it doesn't really matter. It's not really a penalty per se. 2 life is fine. And then the last one, of course, you can have like you start with 1 life, but then you kill elite or villain at 1 more life up to 4. So that is all in all some of these like a variation. You could also have, I believe, one that you start with 1 life, but every 50 enemies that you kill will give you 1 more life. So this is something that you can gain up to 4 life if you play the game. But like I say, all these things are not that important. It just pick which one. To me, I can handle all of these scenarios. So it's really picking the right level, 2, 4, 8, or 11. Now, if you play the hardcore Void Crusade, if you play a hardcore, for example, all these cards that we talk about will not be available. So what I mean by that is that if you pick the hardcore Void Crusade, which you only have 1 life to complete the entire Void Crusade of more than 20-odd missions, then all these cards that have a death penalty would be disabled because you just doesn't make sense to have death penalty on the fact that you only have 1 life. In majority, I believe, that's what. I see the cards being disabled. So then you're only limited to choices like these guys here that could be rather challenging at a high level because some of these guys here will buff the enemy of the by a certain percent. If you do 110, level 110 kind of mission, buffing this kind of damage bonus against the enemy, for the enemy will be pretty terrible. So that added an extra challenge when you play hardcore Void Crusade because there's only limited amount of cards you can pick. So yeah, so these are the cards. And then remaining one, I find that the first 4 is useful as I do leveling between 70 to say 18 or even 90. I find that depending on what kind of like mission, because sometimes I do want to have a purge and then you don't really get a purge at the lower level because you completed all, then you need to take a higher level one. So in that case, then I found that maybe it's not a good idea to bump all this like card too high. So I find that the first 4 is useful for those scenario if you find that the level is already very high, but you want to have a multiplier. Like for example, you want to multiply the reward bonus by a certain percentage so you can get more bonus. By all means, you can apply all these cards as well. Now, out of these 4 cards, and maybe I just want to share with you my thought. I seldom use these cards anymore. I would not advise you all to level up any of this card for Season Journey, mainly because I really don't use it very often. I only use it if I not want to bump this thing high, but I want to multiply the reputation. Out of all these things, I think the least harmful one is Timecode. Somehow the Timecode will give me the damage, reflect, and so on. And sometimes you kill a champion to create a demon. That is not really a big deal. Sometimes it's quite good as well because I'm a Puritan, so there's some buff against demon and so on. So I found that this is probably the least harmful. So this amount all. I like to do glory, but then if I play the Void Crusade, unless I'm at higher kind of like a level already, I don't really use to have glory because it doesn't add level to the card. Because if I play the Void Crusade, I would like to add level to the card to make it the right level. So this is something that I seldom use, although I like glory, and also it add bonus when it comes to higher difficulties and become more difficult. In that sense, I rather use other cards to do something like that. When it comes to the higher level, again, the Archeo Shard is not Tech Shard is not useful at all. So I don't really use it unless I'm desperate to find that one card that's least harmful to me at the Supreme Mission 110 or some highest level that you do not want to bump it to any higher. Then it makes sense. Influence is good when you want to complete the season journey, when you want to maximize all the influence against all the systems, planetary system. Other than that, I don't use it at all. So I say use this card as per your need, but there's no need to level them up. Now when it comes to cards like the following cards, right? I use a lot of this card here, this card. So this one here, Heretic, Martyr, as well as the Fallen Hero. So these are the 3 cards that I use a lot. And in retrospect, I would like to level up at least this one here. I use this one a lot, but I usually nowadays as I get more powerful, I use these 2 a lot too. So I would say out of these 3, just level any one of that that you would like to go for. Yeah, I mean these are the one that I would say my kind of favorite ones. I don't use these 2 much because unless I pick a level 100 mission, then I can like do a purge, and then I can do say I can do this one here, for example. Then it'll get the 111, which I think I can still handle 111, and it's pretty alright. I can do that. I can deal with that. But I really seldom do this one here. So yeah. So like I said, my favorite is this 1, 2, 3. And the one that I use the most are really these 2 here nowadays at the Void Crusade, when I bump it up to 108, 107 and above for all the missions I've got within the Void Crusade. So these 2 are my favorite. Yeah, so this is the one that I like to share with you. I actually do a lot of minor card leveling, because I find that minor card is the one that is very interesting. My favorite is this one, the Venom. I think this should be the very first tarot card that you level up to the max, even for Season Journey, because this one gives me a chance to gain more tarot cards and Imperial Seals that in fact will give me more options when it comes to all these cards, and still give me options to possibility to level up the card much faster. So Venom is my top number 1 card to use. As you level up, the Murder is one that is good as well, because it gives you XP. All right, so these 2. This one is as you level up. This one is for all time. So I would say, yeah, I mean this is one of them that is that I would advise you to use. But nowadays, after you get to end game, I don't really need to do XP, and there's no Paragon in this game as well. So I'll do something like Glory, because Glory gives me leaderboard, and I would say I'll level up the Glory to max. So as I level up, go for Venom. After you've leveled up, go for the Insanity, which is give me the Glory reward. All right. So these are the two cards. Or these are the three cards that I use a lot, but I would say level up these two cards would be your priority, because it's hard to level up even one card sometimes. Now, let's go through the rest of the minor cards so that you kind of know what's happening here. The influence, again, is only useful as you do the season journey and get the maximum influence, get some loot boxes here and there. Otherwise, I don't use the card at all. Crafting material, no, I don't really fancy using that. High quality item, you could. So Resilient and this one here, the Superstition, these are the two that will be using for the relics. One is to buff the champion, which can be quite tricky at the higher difficulties, especially when it comes to intel that have a lot of the buff against for the enemy. And I'll go for the bonus to enemy instead, which could be bad as well. So depend on which one you want to pick. Blueprint is good. I like Blueprint, but I mean, I don't really particularly go for that. If I usually I'll go for higher tier kind of like items. All right. And the this one is to give credit, which I don't need credit at all, so this one I don't do. Murder we talk about. Treachery is to gain Void Shard. Again, this could be interesting if you want to farm initially for Void Shard, but nowadays I got so many Void Shard that I don't really need to focus on farming that. I got more Void Shard that I can spend. I mean, I can spend. So yeah, so we talk about Superstition is good. Momentum is something that you get a duplicated item. I don't really pick that one unless some of these like affixes that I can deal with better. So that is, yeah. Insanity, I talk about that. Glory, I'll take, and after that, the increased chance to get Terror card, Imperial Seal, which is great. And last but not least, again, Intel and Consumable. Now, Intel, I don't really fancy. But Consumable, though, I mean, it's pretty cool because you get some like damage buff, so you can finish your mission faster. I don't really get to see a lot of this, but you don't really need a lot because you only need one per 5 mission. So some of these things here, like this kind of buff here, 5 mission, and you could get something like the XP buff as well. So there are some that is for XP buff. So there are 2 kind of buff there. So those are consumable. Or Mind Reset as well. You can get the reset of the skill tree, the entire skill tree. So there are things that you could use. There are things that you can farm for. So I hope that give you an idea of which minor card are the one to go for and to level up. Like I said, leveling up is XP, of course. After you finish leveling up is Glory. This one is always like a default. I always have. I like collecting higher level items, so this tool is good. Otherwise, the Blueprint is nice as well. I like the Blueprint as well. Other than that, the rest of it is just kind of like if I at a higher level, higher difficulties, and I can't take the damage or the debuff against me on some of these my favorite cards, then what I'll do is I'll try to pick one of these cards that is more less harmful to me to complete the mission. Now, so that concludes all the major and minor cards. The last one is Imperial Seal. There's no hard and fast rule. I will just pick any of these if I want to get a better chance to farm for certain items. I do see higher kind of a drop on some of these items as I use a seal, but I still fail to kind of farm the gear that I really want using seal. So after a while, I just don't bother. So these are the one. Now, you can also use the Ordos, Hereticus, and Xenos, and Malleus to buff your chance to get certain things. So this is to get Archaeotech Relics, which is of course is good. It's a red item. This is to get Archaeotech Shard, which is kind of useless for Xenos, and then Hereticus will get Sample. So these two are kind of useless, and Malus would be the one that's perhaps more useful. So back to what I said before, going back to the Ordos, right? Although the order of the story what is Hereticus, Xenos, and Malus, but Malus will give you the best seal because you can get the red item. So a little bit balancing there. Now, at the end of the day, you know, while your weekly focus could be on any of this mission of the vendor that you want to focus on, Hereticus, then Xenos, then Malleus, but you can do Intel as well, which I end up just leveling up all three of them at the same time anyway. So so I hope that gives you a good understanding of where things are, and do check out the comment below, because as and when I need to correct certain things I've just said, or I need to give you new information, I'll put it underneath that and pin it at the top of the comment there. All right. Any question? Feel free to ask me, and meanwhile, enjoy the game. Bye.